Hello, and welcome to an episode of Waiting for Game presented by Melee Stats. As you can tell, it's been a little bit since we last did an episode. We have been busy. Turns out, I think 2 weeks is the number of weeks that takes before I forget to do an intro. I am your host, GiveMeThatWheat, and we're excited to come back to talk about everything that's been going on in Melee recently. We did not do an episode the past couple weeks. We had some travel issues after GOML and working hard to make sure the rankings happen. But I am very excited to talk about everything we have here. We've got SmashCon coming up this weekend. We've got GOML that we still need to talk about because a lot of crazy things happen there. We've got the rankings, and I'm sure we're going to talk about fucking 11 winning Evo at some point. I'm sure that's going to pop up. But to talk about all this, we have a great guest, a guy who kind of creates his own canon, right? He has his own aura. When you're around him, he has his own terms. It feels like he is like a kind of person unto himself. And not only that, but he's also very good at Rock Band as well. So we have here my good friend Edwin Budding. How's it going, Edwin?
It's going great. Zuppy, quickly tell me who's ranked number 50 this summer.
Mog.
All right, it's the real Zuppy. It's the real Zuppy. We had to make sure it wasn't an imposter.
The tag is Malachi now. Zuppy.
He doesn't have fucking vowels in his fucking tag.
And you have one vowel, sometimes two.
Vibes.
Zuppy, it's taken 80-some episodes for us to get you on, and I guess the first question I have to ask is, how are you feeling to be on Waiting for Game?
It's pretty crazy, man. I'm excited to talk about GOML and rankings and, hang out with my good bud, Give Me That Wheat, and Edwin Budding,
Now, you said good bud.
Yeah.
You didn't say good buds, and you mentioned two of us.
Yeah.
So I do have to.
Ahead, man.
Okay. Just want to be clear that we've established that I am your good bud, and he is just here.
Yeah.
He's kind of
wow. Betrayed.
Zuppy, you have been traveling a lot this year. You've got obviously we've got GOML that we need to talk to you about. We've got SmashCon that we need to talk about, and as someone who's traveled a lot, you've been eligible for the rankings, so you are presumably going to be ranked. So we got a lot to get into. So let's cut it with the niceties. We have we all came back from GOML, from the land of, well, okay, I was going to say we came back from Canada. You stayed there.
Yeah.
But we all hung out at GOML together separately. Man, I really don't know how to host a podcast anymore. How was your GOML experience? This was kind of your first GOML since coming in as a big dog, right?
Yeah, I guess I went last year. I got 17th last year, and I did really well.
Yeah, I'm implying that you weren't a big dog last year, though.
Yeah, I was a big dog in Cruise.
True.
1 stock off Kalindi, 4 off J-Mook, 1 off Zane. Not a lot of people can do that. But yeah, it was cool. I got free venue and I didn't do work, so that was vibes, because last year I got free venue and fucking seeded a bunch of shit, so that's vibes. I had a lot of fun, because the nice thing about GOML for me is I feel like all my friends just go to that tournament. I have a bunch of different groups, and it's
good buds.
Honestly
all your good buds.
It's honestly overwhelming, just chilling with people at GOML, because it's everyone from Ontario, even if they're not competing super actively, comes out, and then there's also friends from Montreal and Michigan coming down, and then the people I see at all the majors as well go to GOML just because it's another major, so it's pretty cool, we'll say.
Yeah, this was actually my first GOML. It was the first time I got to partake in the festivities. I did not go on the boat. I had a tummy ache. But I had a pretty good time. Yeah, it's one of the last big majors that I really had to check off in terms of stuff that I've went to, and I was really happy with it. And Toronto in general. Now, Edwin, I say I enjoy Toronto. You, I think, have found your new city for some reason, and I have not really found out why you love Toronto so much as opposed to any other city in the world. But you were particularly smitten with I was going to call it the city of something. I don't know. What is it? Zuppy, what's the city of what? Certainly not the City of Lights.
I don't know, like the CN Tower.
Okay, the city of the
Hockey.
CN Tower. Oh, the city. Perfect. Edwin, talk to me about your trip to the city of hockey.
Yeah, so Toronto was pretty fun. I would say that being in Toronto was probably my favorite part of the entire GOML trip. I got to spend a couple days in Toronto a bit after the event as well, but there's just tons of good food around. It's a really this is going to sound very strange, but it's just a very diverse city. I come from New England, not particularly very diverse. So going to Toronto and seeing a bunch of Indian people and people that looked like me was definitely a bit of a bit of whiplash. But it was just kind of cool. A lot of good restaurants nearby. Pretty much every day I had something that I thought was awesome to eat for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The city itself is easy to get around, easy to walk around. There's public transit and everything. And I got to spend a lot of time with some really good friends in Toronto, including a friend of the show, Webbs, after the event. So yeah, I had a great time in Galway weekend, and I think there's a ton to jump into when it comes to the event itself. Like it feels like every day that there's that just how the bracket turned out. There was always like a big story, and there was always a big story that like outshined the previous big story in a sense. So I think we have a lot to get into.
Zuppy does well in cruise. Zuppy makes top 32. Zuppy.
I did not do well in cruise this year.
I was just trying to, build up my good dog here, my good bud, as you say.
Yeah.
You know what? You showing up and performing, that's all I ask for. Availability is the best ability.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no, there were a ton of storylines here. Yeah, so this is an event that I think had a lot of weight going on into it for a few different reasons. It is starting to become one of the like bona fide majors that we have each year. It went from, I believe, like generally about 500, 400 or so people to breaking the record for the most entrance in a melee tournament for anything outside of America, which is pretty insane. Because as we are getting into the period where all the kids who grew up with GameCubes are like too old to have nostalgia and travel around the world, we have fewer and fewer tournaments that like kind of break records. We really expect to not see a tournament break any of like the 2017 2016 records that we held. So seeing GOML do it was really like a sign of the times. And not only that, the amount of talent that they had there made this really clear that this is like, if there's anything to be the next super major on the level of Big House or Genesis or even SmashCon, I don't see a reason why it's not GOML. And to like play into this, sometimes there's events that feel like they're really big leading up to it, and then it just kind of happens and it feels somewhat normal. This was definitely not one of them. I feel like every single day I was there, I think you're right. There was not only something going on, but I felt like I was inundated with bracket results that were mind-boggling or just like incredible runs. And of course, I think there's some that come to mind more than others. But yeah, Edwin, when I say incredible result, an incredible upset at GOML, what do you think? Because there's, I think, a few vying for that slot.
Let me tell you the one that stands out in my mind because of my reaction to it, and then your reaction to my reaction of it. Do you remember what I did when I looked at my phone, scrolled through Discord, and saw the result that Skurzo 3-0 Jmook in losers bracket for 33rd place?
I thought you were having a stroke. I thought I was like genuinely upset, and I thought that my friend was in peril. And then I was mad that it was just because of Skurzo 3-0
Yes.
You went like you were gasping for air.
I think I dropped my phone on the table in some obnoxious manner as well.
You kept saying call 911, and they were like, we don't have that here.
Yeah, I think that was genuinely one of the. So obviously, Morse code 3-0ing Skurzo is the initial upset of the tournament.
Jmook.
Oh, did I say Skurzo? Yeah. The Morse code 3-0ing.
Skurzo on the brain.
Yeah, Morse code 3-0ing Jmook. But I honestly feel that okay, so it is objectively a bigger upset, right? It's a top Samus player upsetting the best Sheik main in the world. Like, I don't think anybody in their right mind would have predicted it beforehand. But I think after the fact, you can kind of like retroactively build a world where, okay, maybe, it's an unfamiliar matchup. Jmook, we've seen him struggle, like, maybe not to someone like Morse Code, but he's dropped a set to Axe before. He's dropped sets to Ices. Okay, fair. We didn't know how he would perform in this matchup against someone of that caliber, and he struggled. It happens. I think the fact that Jmook got 3-0'd in results-wise his best matchup against someone who might have honestly been carried by that win over Jmook into the number 32 spot or whatever. I could not believe it. I know Skurzo is very good. I know that Skurzo has, when he shows up to an event and he cares about it, and he's not, side being off the stage or having a few beers before the event. I respect him as a player. He has had a long history of defeating Sheiks, but this is Jmook we're talking about. Jmook,
Different
other
beast.
than other than Cody and other than Leffen every now and then, like, who are the Foxes that beat Jmook? It's basically just those two, right? So for Skurzo to beat him was
I
in
guess Plub.
yeah, I guess Plup too,
Yeah.
assuming that Plup goes to an event.
Owned.
But for Skurzo to be the Fox that breaks through and 3-0's Jmook, I thought was absolutely insane.
Zuppy, I want your thoughts on this. I imagine that beating Jmook and for upcoming players is kind of like the perfect game, right? Everyone's trying to throw the perfect game, and then some guy throws it, and everyone's like, wait, I'm better than that pitcher. Why did they throw it? Let me talk to you. What were your thoughts when you first heard the news of Skurzo 3-0 Jmook?
Honestly, like whenever like people get sent to losers like hella early, like Jake or something like that, and I'm still in bracket, my brain just shuts off completely, and I don't want to think if I lose this next set, I play like Jake 33rd or some shit like that. Like I'm just like, all right, just play, and then fucking whatchamacallit, like I just
Whatever
don't want to
happens,
think about
happens.
upsets at all. And
Mhm.
then I saw Skurzo like as I was like walking back from like the washroom or something while I was warming up to play Geo. I was like, "Oh, what's up, man? Like he's still in." He's like, "I 3-0 J-Mook, dude." I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, damn, that's crazy. And then like I went back to warming up, but yeah,
I think
I
I
wish I
would
could have
not
seen the
believe him if
set
he told me that. I would just go, cool, man, and then go, what the fuck is he on?
because I heard he was up, but like I didn't know who won because I just assumed like Jake would somehow win, but like maybe like it's like a mental thing for Jmook because like he did get 3-0'd by Morse and 3-0'd by Skurzo, so like basically he like hasn't won a tournament game in 6 games in a row. Like that could just be like a like I don't know if it was like a Skurzo playing crazy kind of thing or like the mental stack of already losing to Morse code is like because sometimes that happens like where you like go into losers early and then you play someone and then like it's way harder than it should be just because you're like how the fuck am I in losers right now sort of thing. So I don't know, I'm very curious. I mean like Skurzo's style if you're not like ready for it is quite intense. So I don't know. He is just a mystery of a player to me because he just like
Mystery of a human as well.
yeah, he's just something. Like I don't know. Like I just look at his results and I'm like, I feel like you just like have this like dartboard and you're just throwing darts at it and like something will happen. Like how do you like he like went he went
top player
1-2
Yasu.
at he went 1-2 at like 2 like not even that stacked tournaments like for going like 1-2 out. It's not like it was like a invitational or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
I mean, it was
really
called the
don't
Trail
know.
Invitational, but yeah, it was open bracket.
Yeah, I just mean like it wasn't like a
No.
Redemption Rumble or like a Summit type
You're
level
right.
competition.
Really, really wacky result. And I think that it's probably something that, as far as like we would think about in terms of future results, I think we're all just going to act like this didn't happen for both ends, right? I'm gonna congrats to Skurzo. Obviously, if he's just ranked pretty decently high. I think a lot of that did have to do with Jmook. And in terms of J-Mook, yeah, if I like see him versus Cody, I'm not gonna be like, well, he did get 3-0'd by Scarza. I'm just gonna forget this happened. I think that's probably
Yeah.
the best thing for everyone.
I played Jake that day too, and like I don't know, I felt like he was playing pretty good. So it's just so weird.
Now, do you think it's possible that someone came around with some sort of magic GameCube controller and got J-Mook to touch it, and kind of like Space Jam, they took his powers? Do you think that's a possibility?
I mean, it's possible. Like,
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible, right?
because I feel like Scherzo probably wouldn't have got ranked if he didn't do as well as he did at GOML.
So you're implying that Scherzo was the one who was Space Jamming?
He must have been off something. Like, I don't know. But he surprises me randomly. Like I remember last GOML, he just like destroyed Ginger. I was like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
okay. Like I feel like Ginger versus like Fox that is not IBDW, like at least back then. I was just like, yeah, I think Ginger takes this. So
now, I think the thing with J-Mook is that it's really interesting to talk about what this means, but like as I said, we're probably gonna not really care about this unless this becomes something larger. But it instantly turned this tournament into a pretty much two-way race for number one. Going into this, I think a lot of people talked about how this was basically going to determine who was number one in the rankings. And while I'm never a huge fan of saying that, I
pretty
do
much
think
was
this
the
is
case.
probably true about this one.
Like maybe if like J-Mook got second or something, then
yeah, there's some weird stuff that could have happened,
and
but
like there's like a reset involved or something like that. So it's like maybe he
yeah.
loses to Zane or something.
I feel like it's all cope. I remember watching CEO 2019 and saying if Wizzy wins, he is number one. If HBox wins, he's number one. And then I remember going, if Wizzy takes one set, he's still number one. And I was like, no, man, that's not how it works. Like I'm thinking to myself, you're just coping. But yeah, I mean, this did become something that kind of turned out to be pretty true, right? I mean, as soon as J-Mook loses, the focus all is shifted onto Zane and IBW. And yeah, let's kind of shift our focus to the top level, because for all the crazy upsets that happen, and we can like spend all this time saying like Sunsei lost to Quang, and like we can do all this shit. What's probably most memorable about this tournament to me is just how good and competitive top 8 was. I feel like except for maybe Khalid Amsa, which at that point that's that's just gravy right
That's
there.
his victory lap at that
Exactly,
point for
right?
Khalid. Like you get to a certain point in bracket when you're on like a crazy run and like you stop caring.
Actually, I will say this in favor of Khalid, and unfortunately to detract from former and maybe future guest Kadorian. Moki Kadorian was about as close as Khalid Amsa was. Neither were extremely close.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a really great top 8. And Zuppy, what I want to ask you is, you were from Ontario. This is Ontario Major. Explain to me how important Moki's run here was.
I think like it was pretty crazy because he's kind of done a run like that before, like at Genesis, where and like tipped off as well. Like he's had good runs, but I think what like threw people off, at least me off, was like the fact he lost to like Hungry Box in quarters instead of like someone like J-Mook or Zane or something, or Mango or something like that. Like I feel like those are the people he usually loses to. I mean, like Hungry Box he lost to a lot last year, but he's kind of been destroying HBox this year. So especially a 3-0 as well is like pretty surprising. And then like he barely beat Axe. And then like someone like Kadoran gave him a lot of trouble last year, and like the fact he beat him at like Battle of BC and GOML back to back is like pretty big, because Moki definitely like had a Marth problem last year too, because he lost to like Crike at SmashCon and he beat Crike this tournament 3-0. So like
yeah,
I think like that's like a big sign for like him jumping that like top 15 player to like a top 5-ish player, is just like him cleaning up that matchup, because he's not really getting upset like super early anymore. Like I feel like he would like lose to people that like I don't think I would lose to, and then he does, and I'm like, how does this make sense? Like he's better than me, so I don't know. Like I feel like that run's good, and then like Cody, he barely beat at Genesis, and then he got destroyed pretty hard there next time, and so like you wonder if it's like someone 3-0 someone, like can they bring it back? And now he's up on Cody, which I think is pretty big. And then Amsa was playing actually insane versus Moki. Like I think that's the best I've seen Amsa play in all their sets this year, and like he still somehow won. Like didn't he like 4-stock in one game? So
it was either a 4-stock or a 3-stock, but I think it was game 2 after like a super tight game.
Yeah,
one
I think it was a
pretty
3-stock.
demoralizing. It was very quick.
So that was pretty crazy. And then he got reverse 3-0'd by Mango, which is like unfortunate, but I think that's the first time he's been up 2-0 on Mango.
Yeah, definitely one of the closest sets. I mean, I think just by and large the closest set that he's ever had with Mango. Definitely a I don't know, man. I said it before, and I'll bring it up here. I think that was like the saddest a crowd has ever been to see Mango win.
Yeah,
just
sure.
a pretty heartbreaking one right there. But yeah, Moki, I guess a question I have for you, and I don't know how the geography of Canada works or anything. I don't know if you're in the same general region as a lot of the Smashers, but I feel like in a lot of ways, once top players become like actually at the top, they lose a lot of like their regional flair. Like if you look, Tri-State doesn't really care if Cody wins. They don't really act the same way about Jay Mook. He doesn't even really live that close to New York City itself. And like, SoCal likes Mango, but everyone likes Mango. So I don't even know if that's like really a SoCal thing. Florida doesn't really care about HBox, I think one of the interesting thing is like Moki has been new enough that a lot of these players have been able to watch him come up. I think a lot of the older top players, like as you're getting good, he's already good, or like whoever it is, like HBox already number one in the world by the time you enter your first tournament. But I think a lot of the scene got to see Moki grow as a player, and I guess that probably made it a lot more special to see him do so well, right?
Yeah, I think like Canada, like we're obviously all like super big fans of in region people doing well, but definitely like especially Moki and especially None, I feel like people cheer for like hella hard. And
what about you? Do they cheer for you?
I have my fans, I have my fans. I don't want to be that guy that talks about how much people like me, but GOML, me versus Geo, the crowd was going crazy, so it was lit. But yeah, like I think like the big Moki like pivotal moment was when he beat Plup at GOML 2019. I think that was like, and also when he qualified for Summit at like the Mango tournament where he beat like Swedish and some other people. I think those were like a huge turning point for Moki, and then I think he's just built up like a huge community in his like stream over the pandemic, and then like I think like just like coming out of the pandemic, he's just obviously he was like still really good in like 2019, but he's just even more cracked now, so just goes crazy.
And then there's Mango.
Yeah, I think he just needs to figure out like Mango, Jake, and Zane, and then the chances of him like winning stuff just drastically increases.
Yeah, so I think the interesting thing with Moki is it's kind of like it's one of those things where I think a lot of players who are who used to be in the top 10 or 15 range, the way they kind of break out into the higher echelon of play to like stay there consistently is usually they have like one or two really good matchups at the top level, but there's like 3 or 4 people that are gatekeeping them, so they kind of have to work to break through them. I think Moki was different from a lot of other players that used to be in that second tier of players because even when he was in that group, he had a lot of those really good matchups. Like, I mean, we've seen him go on a 8-set win streak or whatever against AMSA in the last year or so. But you know, even you look back as far as 2021 or 2022, if you gave me a Moki Leffen set or a Moki Plup set or Moki or a Moki Amsa set, even back before they ever played, you know, I would have actually liked his chances a lot. So in a lot of ways, I feel like his rise has been unusual because rather than learning how to compete with the top echelon, that was the thing he always had. It was learning how to separate himself from, I think, the field and the rest of his peers. That was kind of
Yeah,
the next step that Moki took to, you know, go from making top eights, you know, sometimes losing early and then having this big losers run, but you know, running out of gas around like 7th place or 5th place or so. You know, that's really made the difference between him, that type of Moki that always had that potential and always had those matchups in the top echelon, and the new Moki we're seeing today, where he's outclassing a lot of those players who used to be in that same group with him. So I think it's kind of an interesting and an unusual dynamic for his rise to the top five. Because a lot of those
Yeah.
matchups that we knew he could succeed in for a long time, you know, he's getting to them finally, and we're seeing him really chip away at what's remaining. Now, like you said, obviously Jmook, Mango, and Zane are pretty hard roadblocks for him. But just the way those sets are going and the way that it's trending, I don't think it's like hopeless. I think the set count is a little misleading for
I think
like.
Jmook's definitely the scariest one out of all three because you kind of whooped him at Collision and Genesis. So, but
Even
I
more
don't
than
know.
Zane?
Jmook isn't the guy he was at the start of the year, so like
True.
it's tough to say.
Yeah, Moki is definitely interesting in terms of his rise. I think you're right, Edwin, because generally when we see these players, we kind of see them like chip away at the top, and Moki didn't really necessarily do that. Like he's got his win on Plup in 2019, but he was never really consistently beating any specific top player. And then like, you know, checking them off his list as he went on. It kind of was just just like a shift in his entire play, right? Like he
Yeah,
last year it was I think it was around Ludwig's
the
Smash
Ludwig
Invitational,
tournament.
where I said there's no reason why we should be going into events and saying Slug and Moki can't win. At the time, I thought I was being so smart. Because Slug was the only one who was actually beating people. But Moki, like instantly as the year ended, kind of basically turned everything around, right? It was all these like sets that he could win that we just didn't really see, right? We all knew he could beat HBox, we just didn't see it on LAN. We all knew that he could beat these top foxes, we just didn't really see it. And then he was able to kind of take those coin flip scenarios and put them in his favor. And like as we said, yeah, one of the most important things is that all of these upsets that he was able to turn the tide on that as well. You know, even if there's like players who once seemed scary, even like, you know, who knows how this is going to work out, but how he's played against Kadoran recently has been very good. Yeah, it seems like he is a player who you expect to make it to winners, quarters, winners, semis, which is pretty insane to say for a player like him last year. I remember like being shocked when he beat Polish at Riptide. Everyone was like, whoa.
Yeah, he had a
Moki
huge
beating a
beach problem, and then like he just beat Lod, Polish, Trith, like pretty much Wally, like
Yeah.
pretty much all the peaches. Like just I was like, this problem, I guess not.
That being said, he has a pretty bad loss at Collision in winners. Or losers? What was it?
It was
Winners.
winners.
Okay. Yeah, he had a pretty bad loss in winners. So
Facts.
true.
TASMAN?
What? I didn't catch that. Who was that?
TASMAN?
No, it wasn't that tag. It was something
Zuppy?
Puppy or something. Yeah, Zuppy. I think it was Zuppy. Hey, wait, that's you.
Yeah. Vibes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens for Jmook for the rest of the year. I think that a lot of the players I can kind of predict their trajectory, but I think he has got one of the more fun ones. Now that being said, if we're talking about players' trajectories who are easy to predict, one person that comes to mind is somebody who's not is Mango. Mango had a hell of a run here. It's pretty hard to determine every tournament whether or not it's going to be one where he decides to fuck off and go Doc and Marth, or if it's going to be one where he's actually going to try hard and, you know, try to get back to that pinnacle that he used to have. And this, I don't know. This was a very odd one. It seemed like he was doing the latter, but it didn't really necessarily seem like there was I don't know. There's not a lot of emotion, but maybe that's just locked in Mango. Maybe that's like how Mango is when he is playing like this. Yeah, Zuppy, what did you think about Mango this tournament? I know that he unfortunately did bring Moki's run to a close, but I don't know if you have any other thoughts on him.
I mean, like the weird thing with Mango is I don't feel like he got a bracket that like makes me scared for Mango. Like he's never lost to Samus, and he gets like Morse code instead of JMOOC in quarters, which is like I'd say a pretty huge factor to Mango's run. And then like he plays Axe, which is like I don't know. Oh, he played Axe
It's
before
pretty
Morse code.
lopsided. It's pretty
I feel
lopsided
like
in Mango's favor.
it's pretty like Mango favored. Like maybe it'll be close, but Mango usually just like edges it out. I feel like they play the same set pretty much every time. They just mix up what characters they go on FD, and then like, I always favor Mango versus Fox, even if Cody just beat him at LSI. Like, he's won like the last like how many sets versus Leffen, and then like the only Fox that's like upset him besides Cody is like Pipsqueak in like I don't know like 3 years or something. Like I don't think Boki's ever beaten him or like Aklo or like any up and coming Foxes. Like I just heavily favor Mango in that matchup. And then Zane, like I feel like Zane Mango sets are like either like really really good, like their Big House 1 and like Summit 11 and stuff like that, or like the Big House 9. I know I said all the ones like Mango 1, but those are the only ones that are close. Or like Zane just like destroys them, and it's like
I mean, look, let's call a spade a spade. We've seen this before. Mango being on the losing end of a rivalry against the number one player of an era. Mango 2's credit has always been up there. Him and Zane have very exciting sets. They also happen to have a lot of blowouts where Zane wins.
Have they ever had like a good game 5 that Zane wins?
They've had some at like they've had one at like an SCL, but I think Mango won that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like now that I think about it, I feel like Zane just 3-0s or 3-1s him or like griefs, like that missed edge guard at LSI and like somehow getting reverse 3-0'd at Summit and shit. Like I don't know. I feel like it's just Zane like griefing or like he just destroys Mango, and then I don't know. I feel like Big House, like last year, was like the only set of recent memory where like Zane lost, and I don't like have like a visual like picture of like something that happened where Zane should have won the set but like choked.
Yeah, it's
there's
really
like that edge guard at LSI where he like just needs to down air, and then he got scared, and then like Mango like somehow falling uppers him after recovering, and it's like okay, like sure.
That's how Mango sets work, right? You watch him win in the most spectacular fashion, and then you watch him get destroyed 5 sets more, and then like every single set you still go in, you go, he could do it, and then he does it once and you go, I knew it, right? Like the second Mango eventually beat Zane this year, we all go, I knew he could do it.
Yeah,
but it looked like one of those sets that kind of we get a lot of. Probably if you look at the majority of Zane Mango sets, it honestly might be majority Zane 3-1 Mango. There's a, I don't know, mean thing that I say where I go, like, history will not know how close this 3-1 could be. Like, I feel like there's a lot of sets where he goes into it and the first like 2 games look like it's going to be an absolute barn burner. It looks like Mango can win. And then suddenly you got to play FD, and then even on your counter pick afterwards, if you're Mango, it's doesn't really, can't build up all the steam to bring it to the finish line there. But yeah, I'm interested with him. I think that in terms of Mango, I think the conventional wisdom is that this year he's kind of wants to quit, which I will not attest to. That seems like there's a lot of factors that are kind of leading to say that. But also, is it weird to say I think that he could just win a super major? Like, I don't think that
No, I don't think
Mango
it's.
is.
We saw it
Yeah.
last year, dude.
Like,
It's incredible that like in all seriousness, at the lows and the frustrating moments we've had as a community, seeing Mango like go Dr. Mario or play when his heart's not in it. I mean, this is a guy that's attending so many tournaments. He is trying to care about the game. He's trying to care about the game. Even as he's talking about struggling to find motivation. He has these strengths that we just take for granted. And a lot of these strengths, just even if you purely look on in a cynical lens, right? Even if you say, you know what, you're talking about Mango caring or not caring, what about the facts? What about his actual matchups? Well, his actual matchups are pretty good. This is someone who's able to beat, your salts, your Aklos, your trips. This is someone who on the right day is actually pretty reliable to make it into that winners quarters, winners semifinals range, as long as he doesn't mail it in, right? Now, when he gets there, is he going to beat someone like Zane or is he going to beat someone like Jmook? Probably not. He can. I won't discount his ability to do so, but those two are difficult players for him to beat for sure. But he has those matchups and this successful set history and this track reputation that follows him. That I think he's still earned a little bit of grace for himself on a pound for pound basis. I think if I truly think that if you did not know it was Mango, if you gave his resume to a group of people and you said, how good do you think this player is? They would say that this is someone who could win a super major on the right day. I really believe that.
I think the big issue with like Mango winning a major is I like Mango's chances versus everyone except Zane and Jmook. And like honestly, like even though he's up on Amsa, I don't really buy it. Like just based
Yeah,
off
I think
what we've
Amsa will be
seen like last year.
I
I
think
think
Amsa
I'd still favor Amsa. And like I just feel like it's so hard to like win a super major and like not play like at least two of those people or have to beat one of those people twice. So like obviously he can do it, but like isn't he like down 0-4 to Zane like this year? And
hey
That's like
man, what
pretty
did I
bad.
say? He's gonna do it once this year, and we're gonna go. I knew he could.
it'll happen. Like
He's
at
gonna do
some
it.
point, it'll happen. But like it, I don't know. It feels more doomer this year than it did last year.
You know what? Do you
Well,
know what?
we're in a similar spot. It's
What
like
placing?
weird because he was 11.
Where was he? What placing was he ranked last year? That's
He
this
was
last
11.
summer.
But I don't know. It just feels. I don't know.
He's not going to be
It's like
11 this year.
I don't know if
yeah.
he's gonna be 11 this year.
What's he gonna be like? Somewhere 5 through 7 probably.
Sure. You tell me. You've memorized all the rankings.
Yeah.
Can't you like put that into your AI brain and
like
spit out what the rest
all I
are?
know is he's either gonna be Moki and Amsa are probably gonna be together, and then Mango's either above or below that. I'm guessing.
Well, it seems like you are chomping at the bit to talk about the rankings, and to like really quickly wrap up GOML. Zayden won. I'll just say that. I think basically we know, but it's nice to say it, put it out into the world. Zayden won this. Yeah, obviously GOML. There's a lot to talk about here, but also it has a lot to do with the rankings. Like a lot of the things that we mentioned, Zayden winning this obviously is very important for his number one rank, presumably. When it comes to like someone like Skurzo, his rank was greatly affected by Jmook. So when it comes to GOML, I think not only is it very important in a lot of ways, but I think its connection to the rankings is very important. So, let's tarry no further and just get into the rankings. Zuppy, you love the rankings, I guess. You memorized them.
I think they're interesting. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
so you are saying
it'll depend what number I
specifically-
get tomorrow. How much
You
I like the
specifically did
rankings.
not answer the question. I said, "Do you love the rankings?" Which is a yes or
Yeah,
no question.
I
You
like the
say, "I
rankings.
think they're interesting." Okay.
I like the rankings.
Okay.
We'll see.
Once
what
again,
I'm
I
ranked
asked if
tomorrow.
you love the rankings, and you refuse.
If I see my name 20 tomorrow, I'd take back everything I said. That's all I know.
It's interesting. If this were interrogation, if I were a cop, ACAB, by the way, if I were a cop and I was interrogating you, and I said, "Where were you?" and I said, "Did you kill John Smith?" and then you were like, "It's interesting you asked me that," I'd be having a lot of questions, Zuppy. So I'm just saying, if the guy who runs the rankings says you love the rankings and you think you say I think they're interesting, I think I know what I need from that. Anyway, so the rankings are coming out this week for those who are listening, and maybe by the time you listen to this episode, the rankings might have been already out. As the time this is recording, we are up to the top 20. Top 20 is yet to be revealed, and we have the 30 or 21 through 50. Zuppy, you have been, I bet, scrolling through, making sure your ass isn't on there already, and you haven't seen your mug on there, but. While you were scrolling,
I could be 51, man. Who knows?
You could be 51. You could be 52. While you've been scrolling through, has there anything that's kind of caught your eye in terms of interesting results? I know you've claimed that you've memorized all of it.
Yeah.
But
I think
that kind of stood out.
I think the most interesting thing to me so far is I think 49 and 50, Azel and Malachi, Mog, whatever you want to call them. Like the score is like insane. Like the gap between Crike and Azel, like it's like wow, we have these 48 people that like there's no way like they were probably honestly on every balloter's like list, and then we have these two people that are just like this huge crapshoot, and it was probably like extremely close with whoever 51 was. Like I personally think Smash Daddy should have been on there, or Smash Poppy, because I thought his shield drop win was like really good, and like that's a solid regional win. But I've heard people make arguments for like Essie, Nunn, Stiv. Like there's a bunch of other players, Calvar. Like there's a bunch of other players like that could have been on there. Like I think like Azel's like a good player, but I personally like probably wouldn't have put him on my list if I did a ballot, because I think like what got him
And to
there
be clear,
was like
you were offered a ballot.
I was offered, but I work.
So you had the
full-time.
ability to change this.
I honestly, summer is really fun to do. I just didn't want to commit to summer and then not do end of year. End of year, just oh my god.
You're already saying no to me for end of year. Okay.
Well, let me ask you this, Sweet. So I think Zuppy brings up an interesting point that there seems to be a very big difference between what the panelists envision for the top 48 spots and what they seem to see as a big drop, or at least a harder to order assortment of 49 and after. So we saw that 49 was Malachi and Azel and Malachi, right? So I want to ask you, who are your 49 and 50, just to bring up some names that were in the discussion.
You're really blowing me up right now.
No, I'm curious. I'll share mine also.
Well, it's a very big thing to add, and I'll do it because I'm so confident in my results and how I results meaning my ballot. I don't know. I'm so confident in my ballot that I will reveal, but I think it is pretty rude to ask someone to reveal their ballot. But I will do it because I'm a rude
guy then.
Well, you didn't do it.
Maybe not you, but people have been asked.
It's okay. There's like 10 people.
I heard there's a lot of DMs being sent. Hey, don't bring up our low viewership. Come on, man. There's awesome probably 500 people who are gonna watch this on YouTube. That's a lot. Except I had Moff and Azel.
I mean, they both made the list.
They both made the list. I'm clear. I'm clean. I'm clean.
I think Moth and are probably like the highest variances.
I had Malachi at 51.
That's solid. All right.
And the person I put on there that didn't make it, I put none on there, dude. I'm a.
Where'd you have Ed?
I had Ed at 47.
Did you have him above or below Mateo?
I had him below Mateo. I think that his results are very interesting, and so actually we talked to
his Genesis was good.
Yeah, I talked to some other panelists about this. I think that one of the things that we kind of try to get people to do and I think we accomplished it this year is to like get panelists to talk to each other, because you're not really sharing your blurb. It's just like you're understanding what you care about, because like you can write something down and it sounds right to you in the moment. But then if someone goes, why do you have BBATs at 31? And you might just go, like, if you don't have a good reason, I think that's a good thing to like, people will catch you. And like in my experience, it's not like people are like, okay, so we're all gonna put Crike at 41 or whatever. Like it's more so that it's just like asking people some of their thoughts on stuff and seeing if they have logical consistency. Basically, going like I was a person who like in a lot of these ways, consistency mattered to me more than just like huge results. And then so like sometimes someone will ask like, oh, why do you have this person here and this person here? Because I think of them like the same way. And then it's like, well, yeah, why do I have a 10 spot difference between these two people? But so I actually talked a lot about Nunn's results. I think you're completely right. His Genesis was good. He is kind of getting graded for these things. Like his wins and losses are getting graded as a top player still, and I think that hurts him. I think that if this were like any other player who got these results, who was not like a top 100 player,
like
I think people would be a lot more kind.
Like Captain G got those results.
If this were Captain G who beat Fiction and whose like worst losses are Zanya, Vu, and Stiv, I think people would be very kind. I do understand it because Nunn doesn't have a lot of wins. It is the Fiction win, and then it's like an SE win, and really not much more after that. But yeah, I like the fact that he didn't make the list, presumably. Maybe he's top 20.
There's no way Ed is top 20.
The fact that he didn't make the list doesn't make me like enraged. I think that like there's definitely a world where he's not top 50. In my mind, I thought he was kind of just inside of it. But yeah, basically. One thing I want to mention, Zuppy, I think you're completely right. This is a really interesting year where, in terms of the bottom end of the ballot, I saw no reason why all these players shouldn't be on there, right? Like usually when summer, especially summer ballots, it kind of gets to a point where you like get to the 55 mark and you just go like, okay, well, no one here would make my top 50 after 55. Like I would not feel comfortable putting player X in top 50.
I think the Area 51 thing last year, like basically, I think everyone on my ballot was like Area 51 or on the actual list.
Yeah. And this one, yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Smash Poppy, Stiv, Shabo, of course, gets thrown around. Preempt has had a really good year. You mentioned Essie. Swooper has it. What's Swooper's best wins, Zuppy? Do you know?
Dude, you're an asshole.
I'm just saying this is
the not rude thing.
He's got a top 20 win. This is all I'm saying. He's got a win on Zuppy.
Was it a bad loss last year?
True. Not had that insane pre-local where he beat all these people. Like, what? There's a world where all those people could have made top 50, and it would seem right. Like, if Calvar's 50th, does anyone really go like, well, that feels weird? So yeah, I think it was like a really insane year in terms of that, and you will kind of notice. I think more than a lot of years, the differences between points are, painting some pretty big tiers. But that's not really. I don't know. The way I view that is I think that's really cool because it shows that that there's all these players who could be within these specific tiers. Not the fact that SFOP is higher than Ben. Like I don't care about that. But it's the fact that like everyone in the Ben tier was so close.
Yeah, it's extremely competitive. Which is why, by the way,
pretty big drop off after Ben. Like maybe because I think Skurzo was like a little overranked because like. You can clearly tell, 32, there's, people putting him, top 25, and there's people putting him, in the 40s kind of thing. I feel like 32 is just, a very weird number for him. Whereas, I feel like Panda and, SDJ probably had, people, putting them around, 30 to 35 kind of thing. Whereas I feel like... I think what you're talking... Moth definitely had, a crazy,
Yeah, this is something that Eric or Ambi talks a lot about in his work. He talks about clustering players and the ranges of where you could possibly put them, right? So I think a mistake a lot of people run into when they tend to look at a list like the top 50, they compare it to what they think the top 50 is that they think that the pure metric to determine how good their ballot is how close it is to the actual list. Whereas the reality is, well, a lot of players. Because the list is made from a panel with all these different perspectives on players, you're going to have a lot of players with similar resumes that end up having similar ranges of distribution, if that makes more sense. So it's not necessary. So in the case of a player like Scherzo or a player like Moff, the range of where you could possibly value their wins is quite massive, right? But for a player like Ben, who I think is a bit steadier in his results and has a clear path to being in that early 30s range, I think it's a little steadier. But again, it depends on what you value as a panelist.
Yeah.
I just really want to add something. I think like talking about which players go in with each other in different groups is especially interesting, which is why I asked about who what weeds 49-50 are. I don't think you should listen to the woke mob on this. I think it's actually
yours,
I think it's actually not rude. I had Stiffy Preeminent.
Okay, it is rude, by the way. It's not the woke mob. What the fuck
Can
are you
TLDR
Dude,
me
you know what?
resume?
After your 4-side fights, I think you should be really watching your words around here.
Are you threatening to cancel me?
I'm just saying, if I wanted to, you could be canceled. And you know what, Zuppy? Same goes for you. I want everyone.
Not you though. You can't. You can't get canceled.
I'd like you to try. You know what? Do it. This week I'll be at SmashCon. Do it. Well, I want to see you at Shine. No, actually, do it before Shine. I'm so confident that it won't stick. That you'll find nothing.
I don't think so. I think it's a lie.
Christ.
I think there's nothing out there. Every take I've had is correct.
Every tournament you said Leffen. This is the thing I'm canceling you for, by the way. Predicting that Leffen would win every turn.
Oh, predicting that the guy who won Evo in 2 different games would win a tournament. Wow.
Every tournament, not a tournament. Now I'm canceling you for misrepresenting me.
Jesus.
Zuppy, so you how do we get out of this?
We were talking
Zuppy.
about preeminent and stuff.
What about preeminent? Why would I talk about preeminent?
Edwin said he had preeminent on the top 50.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was just curious. Like I'm not too familiar with his results
with his game. Preeminent's got a lot of Ben wins, which might matter to some and might not matter to others. He's got a lot of wins on like.
I know he beat Smash Poppy.
Yeah, Smash Poppy, Essie. I think he's got a Shaba win or 2 there. I think he's got a Slow King win. He's got a lot of wins on those types of players, which might be important to some. It probably ended up with him just outside the top 50 if I had to reckon a guess. Right. Now he is definitely an impressive player. I think there's a lot of players who had that type of result, and it just seems like this year, if you look at like Malachi probably represents that this year people are just a little more smitten with like a top win like Fiction or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like for the top 100. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. But that being said, Zuppy, presumably you're on tomorrow. Maybe. Give me a head and a heart answer. What do you want to be and what number do you think you are?
I want to be 14. I think I'm 15.
Okay, I want to be 14. Think you're 15. Will you rage if you're 15?
I'll rage if I'm 16.
Okay, actually, give me a let's pretend. Let's do a little like we're gonna like run through some things. Pretend like this is a improv theater. You open your page. Are you on your phone or do you do it desktop?
I'll be at work, so I'll find some quiet area. No one's around. I'll slowly doom scroll on my phone.
Okay, so I'll be your boss.
I'm refreshing.
Blake, did you get the papers ready?
Nah, I'll be in the bathroom. My boss is not a part of the equation.
Blake, did you get the Blake? Blake, you've been in the bathroom for a while.
My work situation is just that will not happen.
Okay,
maybe I'll get Teams and I'll ghost it for like 2 minutes. It's fine.
All right. You know, you might need to learn the yes and principle, by the way. But
yes,
okay.
And sorry.
You learned a lot about Melee. You need to learn a little bit about improv. That still leaves me wanting. Okay, so you think you're gonna be 15? You want to be 14? You're gonna rage if you're 16? Okay, yeah. Sounds good to me. I'm very excited to see what will come of all this.
Zuppy,
what's up?
Very quickly, tell me the names that you will accept being above you within the 11 to 20 range.
You know what, Edwin? I was thinking the same thing. I'm so glad you asked it.
So what I think will happen is Aklu will probably be 11. Lod will probably be 12. Triff will probably be 13. And then I think me or Joshman will be 14, 15, depending on if you value his Leffen win more than my collision,
Leffen did
basically.
win Evo.
Yeah, because like Leffen is a higher peak win, but he also has like Moki and Amsa losses, whereas I have points on the board versus both of them. So, and then I had a better GOML because he lost to like Khalid, but I have worse losses, so I don't know.
So
And
let's
then
say,
there's one variable because I don't, and hey, clip it, whatever. What happens when I rank and I'm fucking like 19 or some shit, but like I really don't think I can be lower than 15, but there's one variable where every panelist really values Redemption Rumble and Magi is like fucking 12 or some shit.
so if Magi's above you, you rage.
Yeah.
What if you're 14 and Magi's 13? Are you still raging?
I'm vibing. 14, I'm down.
Okay, but you're 15 and she's 14. Are you raging?
I'm still vibing. As long as I'm not 16. I feel like Magi is the player that makes me 16.
So it literally doesn't matter. Like the top 20 could be like Zane at 20, J-Mook at 19. As long as you're not 16, you're cool.
Yeah, because it kind of happened like last year when I was 35, because I felt like 35 was like a pretty fair number, but it was funny because like Triff was like 38. I'm like, okay, I would not be mad if this guy was ahead of me, but like when I saw like my like salt mine peers like Zamu, Salt, and like Bobby and Swooper and shit, I'm like, oh, I know I can beat all these people, like / have done it. I'm like, but it's not the number that bothered me. It was just like, because I felt like, yeah, maybe like Swift or like Triff's ahead of me, and like that's cool, like that's fine.
So Zuppy, I wanna press you on something a little bit, okay? You mentioned the Redemption Rumble and how much those Magi wins mean, right? Or excuse me, those Zane wins for Magi, right? What do you think of those Zane sets for Magi?
It's opening a can of worms.
Crazy. I feel like
crazy you would ask that.
I feel like Redemption Rumble was like a weird event because like I feel like everyone who wasn't fucking Zane and Cody cared. So but it's also like weird to like just give them the pass. Because like what happens if you like lose to like the drunk Roy or whatever?
Yeah, I was gonna ask if anyone that beating drunk Zane is certainly different than beating sober Zane, but do you know anyone that drunk Zane beat at that tournament by any chance?
I mean, beat me.
So if Magi can do it
still hard.
Three times, yeah, it's still hard. That's what I'm saying. Magi does it 3 times.
I want to be clear.
It's not like number one.
I didn't make Zuppy relive this. I made him relive the super loss. I did not make him relive this.
Dude, I don't care about losing to drunk Zane. I actually played great that set.
It's pretty down to the wire, right? Wasn't it like
it was close. I ST'd when I was about to cook him on FD. And then he like just Randy Tippered me like the next game.
Here's a question. You say you don't care about the Zane loss, and I think that makes sense, right? It's a Zane loss. Who could care? In terms of losses, are there any that like really stick out to you? Is there like a loss to like another Marth player that you think about all the time and you go, man, if only I beat that one Marth player? Is there anything like that? Like in pools or something?
Why did you ask me to be on this show, man?
It's okay. This is out of love, I think.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about SmashCon instead? You want to go to a safe place, SmashCon?
Yeah.
Wait, what's happening here? You said woke mob. I said safe place.
Yeah, we're anti-woke, anti-union, anti-healthcare. We're pro-scab.
I forgot. Yeah, we're a scab podcast. By the way, watch, star in any movie you want. Write as many movies as you can. Do it all right now. Do it, baby. Yeah, you want to get into SmashCon? We're getting a little antagonistic towards you, so
sure, we could talk SmashCon.
So SmashCon, how upset? How soon do you think you're getting upset?
No, come on.
I mean, my bracket changed a lot. I had Asashi like as like the first like hard round like before top 64. then it changed to Quang, and now it's Ober. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I practiced versus Falco and Donkey Kong this week, so I mean, hopefully I play good. I'm terrified of best of 3. I'll tell you that, especially versus those characters. Like, I don't know, but
how do you prepare for a tournament normally? So this one, you go in, you see that you have to play Donkey Kong, you hit up Junebug, and he, speaking of scabs, plays you for 3 hours. Is this like your normal way? Or are you a guy who really looks at the bracket a lot?
generally I'm just trying to play like when I'm practicing in general. Like, I just try to play versus Fox and Falco like a lot, and then if I have like a character of a player I respect enough, then I play like versus like Donkey Kong or whoever. Like, if I have like an Ice Climbers in my like, because basically like I think my game plans are good enough in like every matchup besides like the top 7, because like, you know, I'm not like never losing to like Peach or like Puff or some shit like that. And then like pretty much after that, I don't fear like any character unless it's like, you know, a character specialist where it's like, okay, I will grind with like Pikachu's if I have Swift or Axe, but like if I have like, I don't know.
Not afraid of J-Chew?
Spending. No, I'm not really. I haven't lost on ranked yet, so I don't know. I mean, like, I would definitely like play with the Pikachu like a little bit, but like I wouldn't like drop everything and play with Pikachu. Whereas like Quang, I'm like, oh my god, I cannot lose to this Donkey Kong with all of my being, because I don't know, that character just like kills you. Like, I'm not afraid of Ganondorf. I'll tell you that. Like, that character doesn't scare me because I feel like if
So
I
you
had just
took
been
your side in the battle. In the
in
battle
the
between
DK Ganon
Yeah.
crew.
Yeah.
Also, their graphic is like wrong because like they said like a like trail is on there, but like it's like spelled try. Yeah, so I was like, yo, Ganon's gonna get like shit on, and then like I'm like, oh, it's Trails Ganon. Oh, it's not as bad as I once thought.
Trail did reply to the tweet announcing it and say, "Can I go ices in this?"
Because I think if they had like Ed or Mateo playing, like the Ganons would do a lot better. Because I think Ed and Mateo are like literally just the 2 best Ganons besides like probably Mech at this point. So
yeah,
and honestly, Ed's Ganon might be better than Mech, but I don't know. Ed's Falcon's not right now, so who knows?
True. It maybe is not the time to say his Ganon would be better.
His Ganon was really fucking good. Like when I used to play it.
I'm sure that time will come. I mean, he's attending this. I'm sure that time will come for him to kind of snap back into shape. I know stuff's going on, so I'm not really holding anything against him.
I could see Ed going on a crazy run because
for sure.
I feel like he always does pretty well at SmashCon.
I mean, the thing is, like we've, I think what's happening with Nunn right now is definitely pronounced in the current field. But you know, even just like knowing his career, he sometimes tends to go through these slumps where he doesn't do as well or gets upset. And I don't know that much behind the scenes about him. My understanding is it's just like stuff not related to Melee that's kind of taking his time away from the game. But you know, if there's a player that's come back from a lot of slumps before and rebounded with a really big performance and has shown like the potential he's capable of. I think that somewhere within Nunn is the same person who had a pretty good Genesis run earlier this year.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of time. And like this slump he's on is clearly something that's not necessarily like related to his long-term potential or like ability at the game. So I think
he looked good
was,
at GOML.
Yeah.
Like Aklo normally just like kind of beats him, like usually 3-0. I think he won 3-0 at Apex and the come up, and like that was a really close set that like had the crowd going at it. So I think if like Ed's doing good versus someone who plays like Aklo, like I think that's a good sign for Ed because I think he usually like struggles against like, because I'd say Aklo definitely plays like to frustrate fucking people. So I think Ed is like the type of guy to get tilted by that. So if he's playing good versus Aklo's Fox, I think that's a good sign. Plus, Aklo is also just really good at the matchup. So
He's definitely someone I wouldn't be opposed to buying stock for. I don't know if now is the perfect time, but I do think that like Nunn stock is bound to go up from here. I think he's an amazing
I agree.
player, and like you look at his history, he's been top 20 for so long. It's I'm not about to say he's like out of the game right now. Yeah, he's a person who could go on a run here. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at the bracket other than your own Zuppy, but
I can pull it up.
there's a couple people here who I think have
I think Nunn has JCam, right?
he does, which I think is going to be hard. Jake,
I think
that is pretty. Yeah, that's obviously like a
I
really
think
hard matchup
JCam's
to
really
say.
good.
He's
And
really good. Yeah.
Ed has a Zanya loss, and I would probably say JCam's better than Zanya. So
Yeah.
I don't know how Ed's feeling versus Sheik right now.
Tough to say. And yeah, J-Cam, like for all we know, because J-Cam is a player who his first time in America for a little bit, thanks to the Melee Stats Premiership.
Wait, Ed has a good bracket. What the fuck? Law. If he beats J-Cam, he has Laud. I think that's a pretty good draw for him.
He did just lose to Polish.
I mean, I don't know. He's beating Laud like that Summit, right? I think Peach is like a decent draw. And
I think
I
they
also think Polish is
did they go 1-1
really well right now.
I don't really remember.
Ed has one of the last that they played, right?
A lot of I thinks here from you.
I mean, nothing's guaranteed. There's some interesting ones. They like top 64. Polish Mech. Mech won last time. Polish is projected to win. You know, Mech versus Leffen, the highest level Fox Ganondorf set ever. I don't know. Could happen.
I'm down to see the Nunn run happen. I'm always a fan. I think that would be amazing. Maybe losers. Let's let J-Cam have it in winners. Go through losers. No, I think those two. Yeah, Nunn could definitely make a run. I think J-Cam could beat Nunn. That's gonna be a really tough one. Here's a fun one that I want to point out. There's an MDVA player who I think is really good, who has a very good chance, and I think that.
Oh my god, I know who you're talking about. That's a crazy bracket.
I don't know if you know, because I'm gonna mention Kevin Maples is very good and can do well, but the real player who I'm gonna mention is 15-year-old Luigi player Rat Monster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to another, but I have heard the legends of this guy.
So I don't have Rat Monster's bracket in front of me. I'm just assuming he's gonna go off. He is
I know he won a local.
He just won the cave over Frostbite. I don't know why I said Junebug.
Maelstrom.
Frostbite was there. I think Juicebox was there. Yeah.
Maelstrom.
Was Mog there? I don't know if he played Mog. I think Mog was there. And yeah, he won it over them like relatively convincingly. I think he might have got knocked into losers, but I remember watching Grands and it did not really necessarily seem like he was going to lose.
He did beat Malachi. He beat Malachi.
That's insane. So the thing that made me think that he was going to be a real problem in the near future, and I think very near future, is I saw this kid, 15 years old. Not only he's beating all these people with Luigi. He in the player cam, he was wearing 3 different pieces of Mario swag. He had the Mario fitted snapback. He had the Mario t-shirt. He had the Mario bomber jacket, and he got a backpack on the entire time. And it's like Monday, it's a cave, so it's like 1 a.m. or something. I'm like, this kid is a menace. He's got 3 different pieces of Luigi merch. And if you know anything about mid-tier players, the more merch they wear of their character, the better they are.
Yeah.
Take a look at any Mad Tyro picture. He constantly had
shorts.
The Hyrule, if you wear like a fitted, flat brim baseball cap that has like your main on it embroidered on, I think you're going to be really good. So,
vibes.
I think Rat Monster could take a few names here. I don't have his bracket in front of me right now, unfortunately, but he is definitely someone. Also, I'm gonna also mention another. You know what? Fuck it. All the Melee Stats players here can do well. Quang's got Zamu. That's gonna be sick. Polish versus Billy, I think that's going to be a fucking battle. Might be a battle of Polish versus themselves versus Billy, but that's like every set they play. And I think one here that's really interesting is Flash. Flash, obviously a player who's not really traveled outside of Ohio. I actually believe never traveled outside of Ohio. So this is going to be really exciting. You're right, dude. Someone mentioned that in a tweet that he never traveled outside Ohio. I was like, this doesn't feel right. You know what? You're the new Melee Stats guy. Like, that's all that you had to be. You just had to catch me in my one mistake. You get the crown.
I love these picks that you're making.
Flash can beat the Swooper. Has Leffen. Leffen might not even go. He's fucking kissing his Evo trophy, right? Like, there could be a deep run there. You love these picks, but what? What?
I think there's a deep, like, a lurking darkness in MDBA. One that you see once every blue moon that pops out of the major. And I think we have to acknowledge the reality.
This is who Zuppy thought I was talking about, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was who I thought you were talking about. I think we
I am
cannot,
not a believer in who you're talking about.
Yeah, we cannot discount the possibility of a chewed out run to top 32, or perhaps even deeper. It always happens every single year. This guy, no matter how active he is, no matter whether he's not attending tournaments at all, whether he's playing Pokemon on his stream, you cannot tell me that when there's an MDBA major around, that there's not a small part of your there's not a small portion of your brain that is running the equations on a potential chewed at run. Like, I'm looking at this right now. He's got preeminent in round 2 before top 64.
I think that's doable.
Yeah, I think that's doable. He has Kadoran after that. A little harder.
Kadoran.
A little harder, but not super impossible.
And then guess who he plays after Kadoran?
Either Aklo or Junebug.
No. You're gonna say either Aklo or Junebug. I'm gonna say he plays Junebug. Junebug goes crazy. He beats Aklo. He revenges Mo. He beats Aklo. Donkey Kong versus Ice Climbers? That's what we think. Chudak goes in his mind. He pulls out Luigi for some reason. And he's the only one who knows that the Luigi Donkey Kong matchup is actually super easy for Luigi. And he's just going off. Like, it's like where he played Mario versus
Luigi.
And no one's happy. And then he makes it to Zane, and Zane is like, does that thing where he's like, I'm gonna Icy's Ditto. And then suddenly Chudat's in winner's side top 8.
Yeah, I don't know if all of that will happen.
If all that happens, what will you do? If all that happens, though, what will you do? Will you run across the venue doing somersaults or something?
I will find a new place to stay because Zane will just cease to exist at that point. If he loses,
he'll actually dissipate. He'll dissipate into the air.
Yeah, I'll find a new hotel to stay in or something.
No, it's just like you hear the echo. Like, he's gone, but you hear the echo of his voice.
He gets Thanos snapped as soon as shoot at Yeyes.
Shoot at Yeyes with the mini gauntlet.
I'm sorry for bringing this up.
Well, okay, Zuppy, you mentioned when we mentioned MDVA players, you said you knew who we were talking about. You ended up being wrong. Who's the MDVA player that has a great bracket that you were playing?
I think Junebug has a really fucking good bracket.
Oh, okay.
Because Junebug is definitely a tier above Mo, and Akir's beaten Aklo online recently. So I think if Junebug can make it past Franz, he has a good chance of doing well, because he also has Kadoran after, which, I don't think you write that off. Does Kadoran play Wrangler? I don't even know, but Marth DK I hear is not that bad. So, we've seen Donkey Kong's upset Marth mains before, so I don't know, Junebug's really fucking good. I think he's a completely different beast from the other Donkey Kongs, because when you play Junebug versus other DKs, you just do shine and then you full hop and then they try to shield grab and then you come down with an up air and then you do your combo to them. Whereas Junebug will play a mix up in that spot and not always get hit by the shield grab simulator. So I don't know. Could be
Junebug
scary.
definitely someone who you look through his results, and they were really good this year. I think probably the biggest thing is like that win on Polish's Peach.
That's
But
crazy.
like, yeah, it's so you can kind of explain that away by Polish being Polish. But like, I think what Junebug really is missing out of all this is like that big major run, that big win at a major. Because his collision was unfortunately. He had Zuppy. He had not Zuppy. You're Zuppy. He had Omsa losers after Omsa ended up losing early to someone. So he got
I could have got 17th at that tournament. That's
I think you were going to.
That's a very real possibility.
I saw everyone in the venue. We were all like, we looked at the bracket. We were like, Junebug's gonna destroy Zuppy. Get into top 16 easy. Little did we know. You having fun, Zuppy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are the vibes at?
I farmed also. That shit was vibes.
What are the vibes of this conversation?
I mean, like, I don't necessarily disagree when you bring up like Marth upsets. Like, that'll irritate me a bit, but I'm still in my feelings versus Donkey Kong. Like, you're not wrong.
Here's a question. What has better vibes, this episode or the pre-episode talk?
Pre-episode. 100%.
Cursed.
Unfortunately, we can't talk about what was talked about in the pre-episode, can we?
I think there's a very interesting set in winners round 1. I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me, but
yeah, let me hear it.
I think Scherzo Crudo.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Think that'll be a good.
I think it's a good one.
You know what, Zuppy? I don't think Scherzo Crudo is happening. I think it's gonna be Stango Crudo.
Oh, just Stango plays Scherzo.
Well, let's look at all of Scherzo. Let's see Scherzo's whole path because we need to see if does Scherzo get by Big Matt?
I think he gets Scherzo beats Big Matt.
Yeah,
I think he beats Oberon and Slick.
Yeah,
I feel very confident in
saying
that.
I think he'll beat them. Stango's a hard out though.
Fucking good.
Yeah,
I think Stango is low key third best Marth.
You know what? I'll handshake emoji that. Why not? If he goes Marth, I think
collision.
If he goes Marth, I think it's really hard for Scherzo. Now he might just be like, I'm a Foxbait. He might do that.
Scherzo's I don't know. Like I don't know what to think about Scherzo because he loses to Calvar, but he beat Dark Hero. So like I don't understand him versus Marth.
Yeah, I saw Dark Hero versus Scherzo was supposed to happen. And I was like, dude, Dark Hero is making a run. Scherzo kind of put an end to that, apparently. Yeah, no, it's very interesting. I think Stango is as good as Scherzo is. I don't want to take the autonomy out of his hands, but I do think Stango's probably going to be the decider here, at least on how close it is. If he decides to go Marth, I know he's been going some Fox.
I think he will.
I would love to see it. I mean, he is. I know last year was ranked, I think, 4th in the world in P+. I don't know if he's still playing at top 5 level, but I'm sure he's still really good. He is a player he's
kind of like Junebug in a sense, where he's just like a Smash prodigy. Yeah. Like he's just good at like multiple games, multiple characters. Like he's really fucking good at doubles, like for teaming this year, and like he's just like, oh yeah, I do this here. I'm like, yeah, and I just do it. It's like, oh, yeah. Seems good.
A lot of people have said this about a lot of players that like if this person played, they'd be top 30 free, and like a lot of those I like have give me a lot of pause. It's like I actually don't think they'd be top 30 if they play it. Like it's top 30 is hard. But Stango is one of the players that kind of, if you were to tell me he'd be top 30 if he played, I go, yeah, that probably sounds right.
I mean, like, he had like Genesis where like amazing. He almost beat Mango and Crush, right? And then like I don't know, he just like kind of stopped playing for a bit, and then he had like that really good fight pit, and then I don't know, I feel like you just don't hear from him as much these days.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if there's a P+ Shadow event at SmashCon, if that is going to take precedence. I don't really know what it's going to look like for him, but if he ends up devoting himself to Melee this tournament, at the very least, I think he could definitely go on a run. Which, hey, good for Crudo, I guess.
Yeah, I think
or maybe not. Maybe Stango goes off.
Well, are Crudo and Stango teaming together, or are Crudo and Panda teaming together here?
I'm teaming with Stango. Kyle's
Okay.
teaming with Panda.
There's just like there's so much there. There's a really big depth of talent at this tournament. Just the East Coast, that whole region, Mid Atlantic, Northeast, and everything just has so many people. I'm sure we could go through like literally all these sets and
Mhm.
find interesting ones. But at the end of the day, I think what people are most interested in, and like what the big thing about this event is that it's going to be the first like real bona fide major after the summer ranking. So I think there's a lot on the line for all the talent that we just mentioned and all the people that we can into. But I think there's also a lot on the line for the people that are able to win this event. So, Zuppy, tell me, who do you think is going to take it home?
Zane. His bracket's so good, man.
Tell me.
Like it's top
This is
64.
not very elegant on your end, Edwin. This is why I usually lead up to it. You just said, "Tell me who wins." Tell me. You're forcing Zuppy to. Zuppy, hey Blake.
What's
I
up,
would really
buddy?
like to hear your thoughts on why you think Zane's going to win. I think you are a very smart player, and you have a lot of thoughts on other players, and I think that using your emotional intelligence and your game intelligence, you'll have a very good insight into why Zane is a good pick to win.
So I think his
See how easy does that one?
I think
He's
his
eating
top
the palm of my hand.
64 is like a lot better draws than like some of the other top seeds have to play. Like Zane JJM, like I don't really just like consider a match. Whereas like I feel like Cody Schwab Wally, like I'm at least paying attention to like a little bit, even if I
Dude,
do think Cody will win.
I
Or like
doubt Wally is entering. Like he's
or
probably
like
going to do his
Leffen
retired top player thing where
Swooper.
he DQs.
Leffen Swooper's a little scary. Uh Fucking like Zane Kem. Kem's like a fox who's like kind of chic in that matchup. Like, or he might play Zamu. I feel like playing a fox that's not IBDW or like Moki is pretty much, or I guess Mango too, is just like pretty much like a write off for Zane, most likely. Um, and then Zane has winner of Kadoran or Aklo or maybe Junebug. Like, or that's who knows. Maybe Junebug beats Zane. Like that'd be crazy, but I just don't see like any of those upsets happening. I feel like Zane always beats Kadoran, and usually it's not that close. So, and then same thing with Aklo. Although Aklo did say he thinks his Link can beat any Marth in the world, so I don't know. And then he has like 4 and 5 seater Moki H box, which is like a way better draw than like 2, 7, 3, and 6 seed. Maybe you could argue like Mango is a better draw than like one of those, but like Leffen, Amsa, Cody, I'm all more scared of Zane running into than
Oh, for sure.
Loki or
Yeah,
HBox.
absolutely.
And then I feel like he has like a pretty safe ride to like winners finals. And then when I think about like how Cody or like Leffen or like Amsa has to get there, it's like Amsa has to beat Laud and then beat Cody and then beat either Leffen or Mango, most likely. Like I'm on Mango's side, so maybe he has to beat the TASMAN. So like, it's a pretty hard draw. And then like I feel like Leffen switching from like Fox Falco versus Mango or like Fox Yoshi Amsa, Fox Ditto versus Cody, and then like making the Sheik warm for like winners finals is also like a prep thing. So, and like Cody lost to Leffen and Mango last time, so it's also hard for him to get there. So like I think like any of those 4 players could all reasonably make winners finals, and it's like not that crazy. Unless I just go off and I beat Morse Code, Mango, Leffen, the vibes. But yeah, gotta give myself some credit. But I just feel like Zane's path is just very like clear and cut, and there's no like character switching he has to do, and it's matchups he's won a lot, and even if like Cody's super favored versus Amsa and Laud, like I feel like Cody and Zane look like they have pretty like free rides to winner semis, whereas I think Leffen Mango, that's kind of a toss up, and I also
Mhm.
think Moki H Fox is kind of a toss up. So yeah, I think Zane just has like the easiest ride, and then Cody's winter semis is going to be hard, like no matter what, and then or Amsa, and then I think Zane's winter semis is significantly easier. So I think that has like a lot to do with how likely you are to win a tournament. Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah. Oh.
Okay, I think this stream just went a little like nuts for a
Oh.
second. I can't hear Wheat now. I'm just gonna
Did I
refresh.
say something crazy? Like,
No,
am I not supposed?
you didn't say anything crazy.
Am
I
I
think
not
that
supposed to?
Live. Oh, there we go. He's back.
yeah, no, we're still alive. I think Zuppy, you were just spitting such facts that the stream couldn't or that my computer couldn't handle it.
Chills.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Anyway, Zuppy, you had a very good opinion on why Zane is going to get first place, and I think you're spitting a lot of facts there.
What do you guys think?
When it comes to something like this is really where being the first seed helps you out a lot.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned it, 2 and 7, that's tough. 3 and 6, like all the 4 and 5. Like it really becomes apparent at majors like this. As much as we say anyone could win, that being the number one
It's
seed is very
really
important.
7 people. Like,
Yeah, which if you're the guy who's got to play the 8th seed, it's
and
very
even
good
then,
for
I
you.
feel like Zane specifically has like a very comfortable time.
Yeah, I
Versus
agree.
4 and 5. Like, I think like if Cody was first seed and like this alternate universe he wins GOML, I'm still kind of scared if he plays Moki. Whereas like I don't get that same feeling with Zane. So
I
I
think
don't
you're
know.
completely right. If I had to do this 100 different times, like if I had to simulate SmashCon 100 different times, I think Zane wins the majority of them. But we're not simulating 100 different times; we're simulating it once. And I've been led astray. Let's say I've been going against my heart for over a year now. If you look back at all old episodes, there was very clear streak that I was continuing. And I stopped doing it. And guess what? Time and time again, I've been proven wrong for not doing it. And that is, of course, not picking Leffen to win. If you look back at our old episodes, I said, Leffen. Leffen's actually the best. Leffen's got the best matchups of the top 10. And then the one time I decided not to say it was Battle of BC4, and he won. And then I got back in my train on my soapbox, and it never was the same. But maybe I never cared as much. And seeing him win LICS and seeing him win Evo in 2 different games, both of which, despite LICS being 3 losers, both of which looked dominant, I'm saying, am I really about to do it again? Am I really, like, how many miracles do you need to witness before you stop denying the existence of God in front of you, right, Zuppy?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, how many more times do I need to be proven wrong? I see Leffen win LACS with with Sheik and Fox. He looks great. And I see him win Evo and Guilty Gear Strive. 200 or 2,400 people strong. And he defeats them all. He goes 12-1 in games after he does an insane reverse 3-0. And I'm about to watch that, and I'm about to say, that guy's not going to be able to win SmashCon. Sometimes you have things in front of you, and us humans, we keep trying to think of reasons why, like, oh, there's definitely logic behind this. No. Sometimes moments are so great that you have to sit back and watch. Does Leffen bracket look the easiest? No. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Is Leffen the smartest pick here? No, he's definitely not. In fact, he might even DQ. But I don't know how much longer I can live my life coming up with reasons why Leffen's going to lose. So I'm going to go back to my former way of living. I'm going to give in. Leffen is winning Super Smash Con 2023 in Melee singles 1 week after winning EVO 2023 in Guilty Gear Strive. He is one of the greatest fighting game players of all time. Edwin, tell me why I'm wrong.
One, I'm not really sure he's going to enter in the first place. We've seen Leffen pull this before, and I think if he does enter, he has the greatest pre-John of all time in literally winning Evo in another game. So I think it's very possible that we could see Leffen either, not show up at all by the time of winners quarters, or we could see Leffen show up and barely and clearly not look 100%, right? But either way, I think that benefits the person closest to his side of bracket a lot, that he's going to play, right? And it turns out that the person that he's set to play in winners quarters, if seeding goes accordingly, is Mango, who I think, I don't think I'm stepping on any toes here when I say that. I think out of the top seeds at this tournament, that's probably his hardest draw out of anyone going here. And I think for Mango, conversely, that's probably the best player possible that he would want to beat the most. And the kind of player that we've seen him, for the last 4 years. It's a little weird because their rivalry before was a bit more back and forth, and there's just so much time span between their sets. So I don't think every set they play is going to be a blowout or just an easy Mango victory. But I do think that there's no reason to think that isn't the opponent that he wants to play at this caliber of event. So I think Mango, as it stands, if you're his Falco or if you're him, you want to see foxes in your bracket. He currently has 2 of them on the way to top 8. Barring any surprises. I will admit, I think BBATS is a little scary for Mango. I think, but that's still a matchup that I would consider him favored in. It's not impossible for him to lose that, but it's one that I think he will succeed in more often than not. From there, Zuppy talked about Cody's path being a pretty straight shot before having to play Leffen in top 8. I think if Cody ends up playing Mango in top 8, that's the kind of that's another type of opponent that you'd want to see if you're Mango. Now, the problem with this is that he eventually has to play one of Zane, Moki, and HBox. And I think playing Moki would be amazing. It's a little soon for me to imagine him and Moki defeating Zane. So I'm going to go another direction in this. I think Hungrybox will make the run. I think Hungrybox will not only defeat Moki in winners quarters, I think he'll somehow, through CPU zero coaching or through coaching from anyone else, somewhere across the world, he's gonna defeat Zane. He's gonna repeat what he did last SmashCon also. And I think we're gonna end up with a Mango Hungrybox winners final. I think Mango will finally decide that he wants to wake up and win that, just like he did last year. He's going to beat him in winners finals. I think grand finals, it'll be like Cody or Leffen or something. Probably Cody coming from loser side, and Mango will beat him there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's crazy, man.
One thing that could go crazy in Cody's bracket is he has a Crudo if Crudo beats Skurzo / Stango, which, I'm not saying it's likely, but it has happened. Crudo's kind of amazing.
What do you have to say about that, Edwin?
Crudo's beast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fierce.
This podcast is going off the rails. I can Doctor Strange the future of this podcast, and the only way this doesn't end with both of you doing Crudo impressions to each other is me continuing on right now. Cool. We all said who's going to win SmashCon. That's sick. Come back to us next week, see if we're right. Zuppy, we got some questions for you.
Okay.
We ask our patrons to ask you questions, and they came up with dog shit ones. We usually do this little back and forth thing where I go like, they have bad questions, and then they come with good questions. I go, they've got good questions, and then they come with bad questions. I'm not going to lie. These are pretty dog shit. Edwin, did we have any that made the cut?
Yeah, so this is one that made the cut, and this one is from Soma. And I want to be clear, I wouldn't call this a good question, but I think I can rephrase it into something that's a little more, specific and maybe worth of value to the world. And this question is, do you have any do you have any tips on getting through TSA with a large metallic object that is of indiscernible nature at first glance? So I think what he's asking is, have you ever run into trouble getting your controller through the TSA or at an airport?
So I have a Nexus, which I think helps a lot.
Look at you,
Oh,
So
fancy.
it's
fancy man.
yeah, it makes the airport a lot nicer. I've honestly usually if you just take your box out of your backpack and put it in a tray, it's fine. And then if they ask about it, you're just like, oh, it's just a video game controller. And usually it's not really a hassle other than that. But I think
Then you go, yeah, I'm probably gonna get ranked like top 15. And
I don't talk about that.
Yeah, I should be 14th. If I'm 16th, I'm gonna go crazy. Magi's wins on Zane at Redemption Rumble. I don't think and the TSA person's just like, what are you talking about?
Dude, imagine if the TSA person asked for
The
someone's
TSA
rank and Zuppy just immediately got it.
The TSA person's like, Zane was obviously trying. You look at his sets versus Josh, man, the same event. The TSA woman for some reason isn't as very well. I mean, she's just saying what Abby's saying. The TSA woman is Abby, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Because I've done a bunch of airport trips to the US over the past 2 years, I guess now. And honestly, the only time I've really had an annoying time through crossing the border was actually by car. And that was when I went to one of the tournaments J-Mook destroyed me at, one of those Buffalo regionals, and there was 3 Ontario car pools, but my car was the last car that went through, because I was in grand final, so I left the latest. And then yeah, I'm so proud of beating PIG and Zanya just in Midnight Blue. That's just one of my best runs for sure. Actually, I didn't even play Zanya. I just played Midnight Blue and Pig. That's funny.
Zuppy, I have a follow-up question that I think but this one is from me. It's not from a patron. None of the other patrons had good questions.
Vibes.
Yeah. So I'll ask you something. So one thing that I think is pretty interesting about the top echelon of I'll get to the question. The top echelon of the game is that a lot of dynamics in the top tier of play that we take for granted, like one player beating another or another player losing to another, tend to flip when we least expect it. Like Zane winning, I know it was a bit scuffed, but like Zane beating Amsa at Fate and ending up winning the tournament over J-Move, right? So within the top echelon of play, what trend or who do you think could surprise someone? Like what head to head do you think will go the other way or start to even out?
That's a good one. Huh. I'm trying to think of something that would be interesting. How top are we talking?
Yeah, like winning majors.
Winning majors level? I think Zane is going to start winning a lot more versus J-Mook. I think that's my hot take. Because even though Fate's the controller situation, Zane was playing hot. And honestly, that winner set was totally doable. So I think it's going to look a lot less bad than it did at the start of the year. I think Collision was definitely pretty brutal, and maybe he invests more time into the ice climbers and he suddenly can't get reverse 3-0'd because he has a free game on FD. So I don't know.
Maybe he starts to develop a Samus just for J-Mook.
I mean, shit, I'd go crazy.
And Zuppy, like we said, dog shit question, so I'll come up with one for you. We kind of teased this before the show. Rank the studio albums of Blink-182. You, of course, are a Blink-182 fan. Well, that's well known. It's actually well known to the extent that you have considered and possibly are going to change your tag to Blake-182. A change that most people I've talked to about it have been in favor of. But yeah, it's very well known you're a Blink-182 fan, so I'd like to hear your take on their ranking of the studio albums.
Okay. 9 is probably the worst album. Uh, then California.
Comeback album.
Then I would say probably Cheshire Cat.
Early,
Um,
I think.
And then like I think after that, I'm generally like a
After
big
that, it's
fan.
classic tier to you.
I mean, I like some songs on like Cheshire Cat, but yeah. Um, I think I do Take Off Your Pants and Jacket next, which might be a hot take. Um, then probably Neighborhoods, then Dude Ranch, then Enema, then Self-Titled.
Whoa, that's crazy. Are you a Hoppus man or a DeLong
I like
dude?
I like Tom DeLonge more. I
Yeah, I
think
think that's
Boxcar Racer is better than Plus 44.
what all the kids say. All the Blink heads always say it's a what's it called?
But Travis is low-key
DeLong.
the glue.
Travis is the glue.
Low-key. I think as like someone who plays drums myself, like I know he's not like the most technical drummer, like objectively the best or anything like that, but I think he makes drums fun and I think he suits the band well. So
Do you have a quick impression of Tom DeLonge before we go out?
Where are you?
Perfect. Edwin, you love to hear people do impressions and sing, and then instead of iterating on the bit, you decide to one-up them without changing anything. So would you like to do a Tom DeLonge impression as well?
No, I'll pass. That
Okay.
would suffice.
It's only me who you did that with, I guess. Okay, interesting. Well, Zuppy, you have not been the show yet, as we talked about, so you might not know about this, but we have a unnamed segment at the end of the show. We've got kind of a hidden segment before we leave, and this is
I'm scared.
like I said, it's unnamed, but it's known to the fans as Touching Grass. This is where we talk about something that's going on in our lives that is outside of Melee, right? We are multifaceted human beings with a lot going on in our lives, and yet generally we tend to just talk about Melee. So this is our kind of time to pull back the curtain a bit and let everyone kind of know what's going on with us. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to give you guys some time to think. And one thing that I've been doing over the past couple weeks, ever since we had this our last podcast, was I restring my acoustic guitar. I've been getting a little more into playing guitar. I've had very fun the past couple of days playing guitar again, and the calluses are hopefully on their way back. It's always like it's good to have a good physical like indicator that you have not been playing as much as you should be when your fingers hurt when playing guitar again. So I'm getting back into the groove of that. Hopefully I'm able to kind of play more. I definitely think that like my drive to get better is not where it was when I was in high school, but hopefully I'm able to like learn some new things. I was learning some new chord inversions and felt really dumb for playing guitar for a long time and not knowing all of them. So I'm already enjoying kind of like taking a different look at some of the aspects I already knew about. But in terms of stuff that's been going on these past couple weeks, I will not even mention that. I'm going to mention something that I have the drive to get better in, which is something I've been doing for a while now, kind of on the low. I've been playing a lot of Tetris, Tetch.io or whatever it's called. It's online Tetris. I've been playing that ever since I hung out with Ambi back in April at his house, at his apartment, I guess. I have been improving my scores. I've been playing Blitz and 40 line. And this past week, I had PBs in both of them. I went from 78K PB in Blitz to an 84K. And then I went from 112, 1 minute and 12 seconds in 40 line down to 108, down to 104 in the span of like 3 days. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. There's still a lot I need to learn, and I'm kind of like consciously blocking out a lot of ideas that I don't want to do. I'm like, I don't want to learn different ways to do this. I don't want to learn to incorporate T-spins. I'll just brute force it until I get good enough to get under a minute. And I'm pretty close to my goal there. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. Zuppy, what have you been up to? You're a man who's got a lot of talents.
Other than like working, I guess like I've been playing a lot of Guitar Hero lately. So I've been streaming some GH2. It's been vibes, getting some good FCs and whatnot. I'm playing like a little bit of like Breath of the Wild, trying to finish Tears of the Kingdom, which I just don't know when I ever will, because I just feel like I get in this phase of like wanting to play like, the newest game that comes out slash get new scores on fucking rhythm games, and then like I'm just like, wait, I have a tournament next week and I just need to practice. So um doing that, hanging out with friends. I I learned how to make protein shakes. Those
That's
are
cool.
those are
Are
hype.
they
I
hard to
got
make?
Yeah, I mean, it's more I started making them rather than learned,
Okay.
but it's vibes because
Do you
I
put
ran
a
out of
banana in there? What do you put in
I
there?
I do. I ran out of my vanilla protein powder, and then I ordered chocolate brownie, and I will say my quality of life has gone up just a little bit. Uh, Having chocolate brownie, and then put some milk, peanut butter, banana in there. Shit hits.
Cow milk?
Uh, yeah.
That's
Also,
what
I
those
tried that
Uber
that
dicks.
J Move drink he was tweeting about, the chai dolce
Oh,
or
yeah, yeah.
whatever. That shit was pretty fucking good.
He would know. He was one of the best Starbucks smashers we had. Same with Wally. They
Wally,
both went
JoJo, Milkman,
Milkman at Star. That makes so much sense now.
oat milk.
Oh, yeah. I was recommending to Jorge that he change his foxes if he plays fox at all, and if his fox has a meme tag. I think he should be Oat Milk Man. And you know what? I'm willing to give that out to anyone who wants it. Venmo me $5 and call your fox Oat Milk Man. I'll do it. It's fine. Edwin, what have you been up to?
Honestly, after I came back from Toronto, I was pretty sick for a while. I ended up
Vibes, better vibes. You need to give us good vibes. Just lie if need be.
I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts lately.
Which one?
But we need better
The
vibes.
first one I've been playing on proud mode. It's the most infuriating game in the world.
That's not good vibes. We need good
I
vibes.
I
Dude, this is what
stopped
I've been
playing that
doing.
game at the like final boss because it was pissing me off too much.
Yeah,
See, look what you did.
I'm on the
That's
Now you're
what's
Ursula
pissing
fight
off
pissing me.
now.
Zuppy.
I'm on the Ursula fight,
Oh,
the
that
one
one
which is really big.
sucks.
Yeah, it's super degenerate. She just like stalls the fight in the second phase so much, so you can't do anything. It's so dumb. But I'm having a fun time. It's a fun game. There's some incredibly infuriating parts of playing it.
I like two more, I think. I only played those two, and then like, because I got the game like right before three, and then like people are like, "Oh, three's not that good." I'm like, "Oh, well, what was the point of playing all this? I don't care that much." And then like I ended up having to like watch like a bunch of like cutscenes from like random spin-off games. I'm like, I don't want to do all this, so unfortunate.
Well,
Melee's my only time commitment. Everything else that takes way too long to do, it just turns me off. Because Melee's never a set time commitment. You can stop at any time, and you can go on as long as you want. Watching a long anime or playing a long game, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if I have that in me.
you'll find it one day, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's your favorite movie? Do you like movies?
I like The Social Network a lot. A lot of people say that's a weird movie to like. I think it's really good.
There's always one of those guys. They go, I really like The Social Network. Let me guess. You listen to the soundtrack?
No.
You don't. Wait a second. You don't listen to the soundtrack for it. Interesting.
No. I think all my other movie takes are like vastly different than Social Network.
Mm.
I like Mean Girls, Super Bad, 17 Again, School of Rock, Crazy Stupid Love. Yeah.
You're easy to please.
What about Grown
Like
Ups
about you.
2?
I haven't seen it. I've seen Grown Ups 1.
Did you like Grown Ups 1?
I haven't seen it since I was 10, so
Did you
I
like it when
mean,
you were 10?
I did, yeah.
Well, maybe you'll like Grown Ups too.
I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. I wanted to see that.
A
It came out
very different
recently.
movie. A very
Came out-
different movie than the ones that we were just talking about.
I'm normally a happy-go-lucky comedy guy, but that movie looks good.
Are you a dodgeball fan?
I haven't seen it.
It's one of my favorites. You should see it. I think you'll like it.
That's
Is
one
it
of your
like Will
favorites?
Ferrell in
Since
that,
when?
or am I tripping?
No, I'm serious.
I didn't say you weren't serious. I believe you. I just think it's weird.
I love it. It's very quotable.
I'm sure it did not hold up.
Well, you'd be surprised. Some of it's
I'm
still
sure
really
it's
funny.
fat phobic, probably homophobic, would be transphobic if they even mentioned trans
Yeah,
people.
there's some stuff in there that's not great, but I still think it's a funny movie. It's just every
and
now and
those are,
then.
for some reason, those are all the lines that you quote, or all
Yeah,
the
all the
lines
lines
that
I quote
age
are
well.
all the super dated ones. Yeah, you got me.
Zuppy. Do you regret coming on the show?
No.
That's good to hear.
Should
Zuppy,
I?
I don't know. It's been a very odd episode. I think there's definitely some aspect of getting into the groove. We haven't had an episode in a little bit, so we're getting back into the groove of everything. There's definitely an aspect of Edwin and I have been working hard to make the rankings come out, and you working hard and everything else. I guess I think we're all a little wired right now. I've had a really fun
Yeah.
episode. I'm glad we got to speak to you on an episode because I know that we were supposed to talk after GOML and then kind of just kept getting pushed back. I'm glad we got to speak. It was very fun.
Yeah.
I know about you. I can go up to you and I can talk about Mean Girls or Crazy Stupid Love or something.
Yeah.
Or Grown Ups
That movie's
1.
good.
Or maybe Grown Ups 1.
Yeah. We could.
And
Adam
you know what?
Sandler hits,
I open
Like,
this up to
Click?
anyone.
Click almost made me cry. No
I open
cap.
this up to any fan of the show. If you see Zuppy at an event, you have my permission to walk up to him, talk to him about Click or Crazy Stupid Love or 17 Again. Super bad, a movie that one of another Canadian, Radar, called I think he said would be one of the 20 best movies.
Yeah, he said
of the
20 or
2000s.
25, I think.
Yeah, he said of the 2000s it'd be one of the best 20 best movies. So you've got some
Is he a movie
camaraderie.
guy?
I don't know what he is. He's a guy. He can go off on a lot of things. But Zuppy, speaking about going off, I've been having a good time going off about all the rankings and Smash Con and GOML. But we're coming up on 2 hours here, so I think I'm going to give you some time to study your next matchup, be it Donkey Kong or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I've had I know I've had a really great time on the show. You've been a very fun guest. We have very fun energy here, so I appreciate that. If anyone wants to follow you, where can they do so?
My Twitter, or now known as X, is monkmode_. I'm Zuppy Tas on Twitch. Yeah, that's about it. If you want lessons,
No threads.
I'm not on threads. If you want lessons, DM me. We can maybe work something out. And hopefully you see me after you scroll at least 5 times tomorrow when the rankings drop. That would be hype, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. If it's 4, you're going to hear someone screaming.
Some
guy from Ontario is going to start
screaming.
screaming.
I don't know. I've seen a ballot, and I'm not going to name who. Actually, wait, no, you could figure it out because you know all the ballots. Never mind.
I know what you're referring. Let's keep it to post show talk.
Yeah, but wait, no, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. I know what you're talking about. That's a different thing. I was 18 on one, and Toussaint was 16 on another, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, Toussaint's Genesis and my collision. My collision's literally just Toussaint's Genesis, but better.
Calm down.
And I have the head-to-head.
Zuppy, where can the people follow you?
We already said that. I think Zuppy's time here is done. Mute him. Get him out of here. Throw him in the brig.
Now we just end the episode. No promo or anything.
Zuppy, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I hope to see you at the at SmashCon this coming weekend.
Yeah. I checked into my flight recently, and gonna.
Hey, we love a guy who checks into his flight the day before.
Yeah, I gotta go into work early tomorrow so I can actually catch my flight. But
Interesting.
should be fine. Yeah.
Well, I hope you catch it. I hope to see you. Been a pleasure having you on. And yeah, if anyone who's listening or watching wants to follow him, they can do so. Monkmode _ on Twitter, or Zuppy TAS over on Twitch. Maybe he changes them all to Blake182 when he changes his tag. Who knows? But as for now, those are the places where you can find him.
There's one thing I'm thinking about changing.
What's that?
My Slippy code.
Okay, well, do you want to plug your Slippy? You want to say play
Zuppy 0 is my Slippy code right now, but I might change it to TASMAN 0.
So okay, go plug in Zuppy 0 on your Slippy. See if he plugs in your code at the same time through pure serendipity. Maybe he'll do it. Who knows? If it happens, it's meant to be. As for us, there's no Melee Stats Slippy code, but we do have a couple other places you can find us. We're over on Twitter, aka X, at Melee Stats Pod, daily results posting, and we also have kind of announcements of players and links to our bigger articles that are over at meleestats.co, such as Monday Morning Marth and When's Melee. You can catch our these videos as they go live on twitch.tv/Melee Stats. They go live on YouTube over at the Melee Stats Archive. While you're over on YouTube, check out Melee Stats. That's our long-form content channel, so you can watch our video essays there. If you love, or you already had, if you love everything we do, is there anything else we got? I made a Blue Sky account. I did not post on it. There is a Melee Stats Blue Sky account if you want. I think we're... Oh man, I need to get back into the groove. I'm forgetting our plugs. Anyway, if you love everything that we do and you just want to support us in the best way possible, patreon.com/melee-stats. We appreciate any support given from there, of course. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Zuppy, thanks for being on. I'm sure this was interesting experience for you, but I am happy to have you on Waiting for Game at any point. We can get you on again and relive all your worst losses and stuff, whatever we did today. Be happy to do so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I enjoyed most of it.
Most of it. Well, that's what we like. We aim to be enjoyed by most, not by all. So
some dangerous conversation topics were made for sure. You didn't mention my body though. I will say that.
What the heck? Why would I do that?
Yeah, what do you think we are, jerks?
Maybe.
Okay, well, on that note, I guess we'll leave. Maybe we'll have you on again to mention everything that we didn't mention this time. Who knows? As for this episode, though, thank you for watching. We are going to be doing an episode after SmashCon. Actually, unlike when I last told you we were going to do an episode, we're going to do an episode after SmashCon to talk about everything that happened there. I'm sure it's going to be a lot to talk about, so I'm super excited to do so. We will see you then. Peace.
Peace.